All right, let's get started, everyone. I'm excited today to announce Ms. Makia Alexander as our presenter today. She is a K through 12 subject matter expert with over 20 years of experience in general and special education. Makia serves as the Assistive Technology Coordinator for Ann Arbor Public Schools, where she supports teams on assistive technology acquisition and application, as well as design and delivers district-wide training on universal design for learning principles and using technology to achieve student growth. Makia is passionate about ensuring that learning is accessible and attainable for all students. As a result, she regularly attends local, state, and national meetings and conferences to advocate for students and extend her professional knowledge. Makia holds a bachelor's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in teaching, an education specialist in special education, and an assistive technology specialist certificate. Everybody, let's welcome Ms. Alexander.
Hello. Thank you for having me. And I'm sorry, do we have it where everybody is muted or where people can ask questions? I just want to
I believe everybody is muted, so we will monitor the chat for
chat.
any
Okay, very
questions.
good. Very good. So we'll just do presentation. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. I just wanted to know that I am excited to be here, and I am just going to share my screen really quickly and we're going to get started. Before we start, I want to apologize. I am having a little bit of trouble today, and this is from the remote environment. What typically happens, or what I had planned on, was sharing my iPad screen via Reflector Teacher, which for some odd reason today is not discovering my laptop, my iPad. I could join via Zoom, but it takes away a lot of the features that I wanted to model today. So bear with me, please. So here we are on accessibility for the iPad, iPhone, and apps. And let me ask one more question. I know that my video is turned off. Will that be off the entire time?
You should be able to turn it on. Let's see.
Unable to start video. You can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
I don't know.
I was going to say, because worst case scenario, I could, turn it around and model it like so you could see what I was doing. But so I'll get started and then we'll see if we have that opportunity later on. Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. No worries. When the technology doesn't cooperate. So here we are today, accessibility for iPad, iPhone, and apps. A little bit more about myself. I have been in education for over 20 years. My mom is a retired teacher. She started her career in Detroit and she went to Michigan State with a degree in special education for visual impairments. My brother is also an educator. He's a principal at in alternative schools. So I just want to say that education is really embedded deep in my family and it's something we're very passionate about. And I have been kind of with people with disabilities my entire life because my mom always had us in her classrooms or when she was in different places teaching. So I am also a certified CPI instructor, as well as, which is Crisis Prevention Institute, as well as an Apple teacher. And then today we're just going to kind of explore how you can use an iPad or an iPhone as a potential assistive technology tool. So starting off, when we say using it as an AT tool, what exactly is assistive technology? So here is kind of the definition that I've merged together a little bit, but it's any item or piece of equipment used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities in all aspects of life. So that's at school, work, at home, in the community, and they can be from low tech to high tech. These can be things that are created. These are things that can be bought commercially. And so right now I'm just showing this picture of the assistive technology continuum where it goes from really, really low tech to high tech. So it can be something as simple as a pencil grip or something like an iPad where you use speech recognition or a dynamic display. And then these are the actual legal definitions of assistive technology. And this is where I pulled kind of the first definition from, where any item, piece, or equipment or product system acquired commercially off the shelf, modified, or customized that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of a child with a disability. And if you see increase, maintain, or improve are in blue, and they're also italicized because those are the things that we're looking to do: increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities. And this assistive technology service assists someone with a disability in selecting, acquiring, or using that assistive technology. And then there are several laws related to assistive technology. The Technology Related Assistance for Individuals with Disability Act, the American with Disabilities Act, which we're probably a lot more familiar with. There's the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. And then I've kind of flown through those things so that, let me go backwards, so that we can get right to looking at the iPad. I still don't have the ability to start my video.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, no worries, no worries. I can definitely share, I could join the meeting via my iPad, but it just takes away, like Siri isn't gonna work. The voice command feature isn't going to work. And for some odd reason, my reflector teacher, which I tested out just fine a couple of days ago, does not want to work for me today. So kind of stinks if I want to show the iPad, but we don't have the ability to see what it's doing. Still telling me no device is connected. So we'll start out with Siri. And I guess I'll go back to screen sharing here. Sorry. We'll talk about Siri first. So Siri, if you use an iPhone or an iPad, you may be very familiar with her. You can helps you to complete any tasks you do from day to day. You can have questions that you're curious about, find definitions, set reminders. That's something I do personally pretty frequently. I ask Siri to set a reminder. I often ask her to set a reminder and tell even at a location. So remind me when I get home to do A, B, C, D, or remind me when I get to work to check this. And you can set it with a date and a time. So that's one of the features. You can find files, you can turn vision features on or off. And then if you need to streamline a lot of different actions or tasks, you can create Siri shortcuts. I'm just going to go ahead and join via my iPad and hope that we can get at least some demonstration here. Open Google Calendar. So I can get my Zoom link here. Forgive me, it's probably, yep. Voice control is no longer listening. Got it. Go ahead and mute this before I dial it. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I have joined via my iPad now. Hopefully I'll be able to do some screen share with that as well. So there's Siri, and then dictation. It lets you speak the words and punctuation where you would type, and it works in over 30 languages. If you have really good verbal skills, this is something we use a lot for students who may have a learning disability with really strong verbal skills, but spelling or typing is an issue. You can use dictation to assist in writing emails, notes, using web addresses. All you have to do is tap the microphone button on the on-screen keyboard, say what you want to write, and the device converts your words or numbers and characters directly into text. One more question, I'm sorry. Would it be okay? Could I have sharing capabilities on my iPad?
I'm sorry, Makia, I'm not sure. There's no screen share at the bottom?
Not for my iPad. So I've joined via my computer, and that's where I'm running this from. But I want to be able to do it from my iPad. So I have two devices going. Oh, there you are. I saw you.
Here I am, but where are you?
Let me see if I can. Unable to start video because the host has stopped it.
Okay.
So let me see if I can screen share here. Oh, I can't. I'm so sorry. I can't start the video here either. I can just keep going through the presentation, but the demonstration piece, I think, is a big portion of it.
I'm trying. I'm still looking.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Can you try it now?
Unable to start video. Or am I trying to screen share, or am I trying to start my video?
Don't.
Looks like I can screen share. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Sorry, now the dogs are excited as well. All right, so we can at least do some dictation and look at some different things. Please don't look at my messy home screen here. But so we can use some dictation here, hopefully, while I'm in here. Let's see. Is my microphone giving me the option here? There we go. Of course, because I'm in Zoom, it doesn't. So here's the microphone down on the bottom of the screen. Hang on, we'll go back. All right, I'm trying to dictate here, which is not giving me the capability, probably because I'm in Zoom. So it's already using my microphone. So I have a couple different places at the bottom right-hand side. This is because I'm connected to a keyboard, but once I disable my keyboard, the whole on screen pops up. And if you can see on the bottom left where my microphone is, that's not highlighted because I'm joined via Zoom. So it's taking my microphone from Zoom. I can't use the microphone in two different applications at the same time. But that is one place where I could use dictation, not to mention multiple other places. I'm just going to keep stealing back and forth between my two devices here. So Magnifier, this is a really, really cool one. It works like a digital magnifying glass. It uses the camera on your iPhone or your iPad. It increases the size of any physical object you pointed at. What I was doing before I was aware of Magnifier was taking a picture and then dragging it a lot bigger. But Magnifier works so much nicer. You can use the flashlight to light up the object. You can adjust features. You can take a freeze frame to get it closer up. And so now I'm going to go back to my iPad. I'm going to go back to my iPad and share again. Okay, it would be great if I was sharing. Start broadcast. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go to my control center right here. And if you look on my control center, I have the ability to use my magnifier right here. And once I select it, it gives me the option. Sorry, my table's a mess here. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to show here, Diane. I also have this right here. I can make it larger. I can take a freeze frame and drag it out if I want to. Make it a lot bigger if I needed to. And that guy, I can control my brightness. I can use filters if I wanted to. So if I needed it in a different color, those are available. Here's my flashlight. I'm going to take it back to the original color. If I can get there. There we go. So my flashlight, it worked really well when it's dark out. And that is Magnifier. The next one I would love to show spoken content. So with Speak Screen, this is one of my favorite ones. This is how I listen to articles while I'm driving on my iPhone. You can have almost any of the text read aloud to you, mail, messages, Safari, and more. If you miss a word or a sentence, you can run it back with the speech controller playback buttons. And also you have speak selection, so you can do a speak screen or a speak selection. So these have to be enabled inside of your settings. Just check one more time here. Ah, yay, there I am.
Made you co-host so we could see you.
Thank you. So now, okay, perfect. So instead of switching back and forth, I'm just going to turn it around, and that'll make things a little bit easier for us. So I'm just, rather than screen share right now, I'm gonna just kind of go back and forth between the two. So we're looking at spoken content. The first place you can find this is, can this be seen very well? That's probably not a great see. Is it better when I screen share, Diane?
I think I can see it fine.
Okay, so I'm just holding this up right here so you can see it. So this is found in the settings, and I probably will screen share just so I can show people how to do it, and it makes sense to stand here and then also screen share. So I'm going to do that really quickly so that it can be seen really well. Start my broadcast here. 3, 2, 1. There we are. Screen sharing again. And So the first thing I want to do is go to settings. So this is where this is. This is where all the action happens on an iPad or in an iPhone, the settings. And everything we're talking about today will either be in the control center or it's going to be under accessibility. So what I'm looking at right now is under accessibility. That is where we're going to find how to turn on our spoken content. So right here is spoken content. I select it. And here I've got them toggled on already, but I toggle on speak selection and I also toggle on speak screen. I like to have my content highlighted as well, so it highlights the entire word as well as a sentence. So my word is in one color and my sentence is in another color. I could also turn on underline or background color. Those are my options. But once those are turned on, whenever I want it to read something to me, let's see, here we go. I pulled up an article earlier today. Where it is. Where is it? There we go. Here we are, freep.com. And I hope it'll read. It might not do it since I'm using my Zoom. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys, I had it on mute. Let me mute this one. We're having a really good time, aren't we, today? So if I simply, once I have it turned on, 2 fingers and I can swipe down from the top to the bottom. I lost my strawberries. Oh no, go backwards. If I swipe down from the top of the screen, it'll just, okay, not behaving for me. It's thinking. Here we go. Really? Is that another feature that isn't gonna work? So maybe it's not working because I'm in Zoom here. All right, let's see if I can get my, really would have been nice if Reflector Teacher would have just worked it for me. I am so sorry. Because I can't, I've had this muted since I'm logged in here. All right. Now I'm gonna go to it. Here we go.
Here are 10 places to pick. Strawberry season is getting underway in southeastern Michigan. Like a Michigan summer, the season is short. It runs for about 3 weeks.
All right, so this is reading to me this article about strawberries. If you notice what I had done here, I turned on another feature that we have, and that one is, let me go back to it. I turned on the feature to use show right here. It's here. If you look at it, it's the Safari reader. And what happens is, I'm going to hide the reader right now. I have all of this stuff on my screen. And so if I use my Safari reader, it'll take everything and it'll just make it a nice clean copy for me. So when I go from here, I just click these 2 A's at the top, which I can't see. Here, I show my reader view, and then it gives me a very, very clean copy. Looks like I've turned this on. Let me turn it off. There we go. So it gives me a really clean copy, so it won't read all of the name of the free press and whatever else, the weather that's on the page, and then I can just 2-finger swipe down from the top.
It's strawberry pick season in Michigan. Here are 10 places to pick. Strawberry season is getting underway in southeastern Michigan. Like a Michigan summer, the season is short. It runs for about...
And so some of the features that they were talking about, like going backwards,
3 weeks. Sometimes strawberry season is getting underway in...
or moving
Like a
forward,
Michigan summer,
I can
the
speed
season
it up.
is short. It runs for about 3 weeks. Sometimes less.
Or slow it down.
Depending on the...
So that's our spoken content. We also talked about Safari Reader already, how it just kind of takes away all of the visual clutter that would be on a page, and it makes it just one clean copy. Sometimes that's distracting for individuals. So guided access, that's one that helps you stay focused or on task. It kind of locks you into one place. And so what happens is you have to go into the settings with that one as well. And that's under accessibility. And you can set a passcode. So here I am. This is not pretty. Accessibility. Diane, can you all see this?
Yes, but it's on a small,
Yes?
in a small window.
So I'm going to scroll down to guided access here. And then again, I would need to toggle it on. And I'll do a passcode, which I could use because of my iPad. I could do either Face ID or I could set an access code. So I'm going to set my access code here, which I'm going to just make it 1, 2, 3, 4.
We have a request from the audience. Is there any way you can move the presentation to the small screen?
So when I want to put it in guided access mode, what I'll do is I can lock myself into one application. So if the only task for me to do is to read this article right here, I could turn it on guided access. And then I don't have the ability to leave it. So one of my favorite things to use is just the control center. So if I turn on my control center, I put a lot of things in accessibility. So rather than having keyboard shortcuts or tapping different things on the screen, I can just swipe down here, and here my control panel pops up and I have guided access right there, all the way down where that little lock is. And I hit guided access. It's going to turn it on. Well, it gives me the option right here. Do I want to turn it on? Do you want to start guided access or do you want to cancel? I absolutely want to start it. And so it tells me you're started. And once I'm started, I can't go anywhere else. So I can try and swipe up on the screen here or pull down for guided access. And there's nothing that I can do. I can't go anywhere until I come out of it. I am just stuck in there. So that's how guided access works. Dark mode, a lot of people may do this one on their phone as well. My niece has that on her phone. So I'm going to actually show some things on the phone also so that you can see those. It might make it a little bit easier actually. So dark mode will take everything from, instead of being light, like how I have my phone here on the light option, it'll change it to dark. That's another one that's in settings. And it's under, so once I go to my settings here, this looks a little bit different on a phone than it looks on an iPad. And I can just go to display and brightness. So settings, display and brightness. And once I select display and brightness, it gives me the option. Do I want it in light mode or do I want it in dark mode? So I have it in light mode currently. But once I select dark mode, my screen went completely dark and everything that it shows me will be dark. So instead of my Google Calendar having that white background, now it has a dark one. Instead of my Gmail having that white background, now it has a dark background. And so that is one that is just simply in settings, and it's under display and brightness. Now that's not my personal preference, so I'm gonna just go ahead and switch it back to light. And then it pops up the way that I use it. But anybody who might be reading in low light or anything like that, this is what works for them. Okay. And then text size, that's another one that we can change really easily by going to accessibility, and that's under display and text size. It's a little bit easier by just holding up this phone. I hope this is okay. And so once I go in there, you have all of these options. So one of the things I can do is say, turn on bold text. So here, if I just turn it on, it tells me my bold text is on. I'm gonna turn on my larger text for accessibility sizes. There's that, and I have a little, see what happening here? I have a little slider down at the bottom where I can control how much larger the text is going to be if I need to. And this will work on all things Apple on your phone, but any other applications, they would have to be compatible. So that means that would have to be built into the application. So that one was under text and display.
Hey, Makia.
And if we continue in text and display,
Makia, can I interrupt you for a sec?
you have the option of choosing from a range of different color filters. And we use these a lot with students with visual impairments, inverting their colors and changes things specifically to the way that the student needs them to be. And those are also here in accessibility under display and text size. Back tap. This one is on an iPhone only, and it allows you the capability of actually customizing the back tap, what you want to use it for. It's one of the coolest ones. Now, I will say this. If you have a case on your phone, as I do, then the back tap really doesn't work at all. You kind of has to be a phone with no case on it because it's really a sensitive little touch. But that one is also in accessibilities, and that one's under touch. So if I'm here and I go to my accessibilities, I'm going to go to where it says touch and scroll all the way down to back tap. So I turn on my back tap and I get to decide whether I want a double tap or a triple tap. And then I also get to decide, what do I want that double tap or that triple tap to do? So I have the options of taking me to the control center or the home or the lock screen. So I'm a person who uses a lot of different devices, and I can't remember how to take screenshots on all the different devices that I'm using. So I have mine set to take a screenshot on back tap. So literally, if I tap the back twice, it takes a picture of my home screen. So that's a cool one because you can customize it to do that for to turn your volume up or to turn your volume down, or to use your magnifier or to use speak screen. So it can be programmed to do whatever you want it to do. So that one's really customizable, but it's only available on an iPhone and not the iPad. So voice control, this one is one of my favorites, and it works. I have it set up on the iPad right here. But if you can look, see if you can see it, there's a little bitty blue button in that top corner, and it tells me my voice control is on. And so I get to do all types of things by just telling my iPad to do it, like open Padlet. Didn't do it. Let's see. I'm still in guided access. Okay, sorry. Here we go. All right. In my guided access here. All right. Now, open Padlet. Oh, it thinks I said, and I did say Padlet. That's not the one I wanted. Open Poplet. Open Poplet. There we go. So it opens it up. Open Gmail. Open Gmail. And so you really have to learn the language that you use with voice control, but it works beautifully. So you can tell it to tap certain things. So if I'm looking at my email right now and I want to select an email from a specific person, I'll tell it tap whichever one and it'll open that one up. So voice command just really works beautifully. You can tell it to scroll up or scroll down, to zoom in on different things. And it's just, it can be a very efficient way to write and edit once you learn how to use the controls. It's not something that is automatically understandable to start with. And then in addition to that, it requires, just like a lot of assistive technology, it really requires training. Someone being able to do it over and over again until it becomes second nature, and then they can use that. Sorry, go backwards. There we go. So switch control, that is not one I'm going to model because I don't have any switches at home at my house. There are some at my office, but for an individual who might require some more adaptive hardware, where they can use something completely separate by tapping or scanning, for individuals with pretty substantial motor limitations, that's where we would use the switches. And you can create all types of panels and keyboards. I have to say this, this has to be on an iPad or an iPhone connected via Bluetooth. That's how it works really well. We do have a few students, one in particular I'm thinking about plays an instrument, and he has a visual impairment, and the iPad connects to what we call, it's actually a switch, but it's I call it a pedal. And he's able to control the iPad where the music with his foot just continuously moves across from left to right for him, so that he can control the music because he needs it to be so much larger on his screen. And that's just another switch that connects via Bluetooth. Assistive touch, I just did show you how you could use assistive touch to use the back tap on my cell phone, but there are other things that you can embed in there, like certain gestures that work better than others for you, or like if you'd rather pinch instead of tapping, or if you want to swipe a certain way, like you have the ability to customize those. And that's also in accessibility, just here under touch. And so, and I don't know if anyone's ever seen this, like there's the shake to undo, and there's the vibration. There's lots of different touch features that you could be using right now. I have the shake to undo. If you tend to shake your iPhone by accident, you can disable shake to undo. So if I did something and I didn't want to do it, all I have to do is shake my phone and it erases it for me, or it will undo it, not undoes. Voiceover, this is one that works really well also, and it requires a lot of training. It's found under accessibility in the settings. And one thing about Voiceover, sometimes people turn it on and they have a hard time turning it off, just testing and playing with it. My niece has a phone and she came and, can you help me with this? Yes, I can help you with this. But so Voiceover, when you turn it on, it literally starts reading everything on the entire screen for you. So here's Voiceover. I'm just going to toggle it on really quickly. I think my volume is
Charge
off.
port to the right. Settings. Try. Open settings.
So it tells me
Try.
everything.
No.
So what'll happen is anything I try and
Tap
do,
S.
it won't do it
Sierra.
because it's just telling me
Actions
where I
available.
am. And so my first tap, it reads it to me. 2 taps will actually get me where I want to be. So if I wanted to go to my home screen,
Home screen and dock.
it just
Button.
tells me that I'm at the home screen and dock button. What if I want to go to my control center?
Control center. Button.
1 tap is
Suggested
telling me
commands.
that's where I
Try.
am.
Single tap.
So if I double tap it,
Settings. Heading.
it takes me to my control center. And anything I tap on the screen, it will read it to me.
Battery. Button. Try. Tap battery.
So
Try. Tap that. Privacy. Button. Accessibility. Accessibility. Heading. Accessibility. Heading. Accessibility. Heading. Accessibility. Heading. Accessibility. Heading.
my double tap
Try.
isn't working very
Tap
well.
Try. Double tap.
Double tap voiceover.
Selected. Accessibility. Button.
Turn voiceover off.
Voiceover off.
So that is my little secret weapon here when I'm struggling through voiceover, going back to using the commands. And if you noticed, I was having a hard time, even though I was double tapping. It's like you have to have the timing just right. So, but it will read every single thing on this screen, and it's 1 tap reads it to you, 2 taps will select it. And it's something that people have to be taught how to do. You have to really learn how to do that one. So the next one is, sorry guys. Go backwards. Stop for 1 second. I couldn't get to this button I was trying to get to. There we go. Going back. There we go. Zoom. It's another screen magnifier. It's found under accessibility. I have mine set up where I do, if I tap with 3 fingers, it already came on. So mine is set up, if I do a 3-finger tap twice, my Zoom automatically will come on. So, come on. Well, that's not working. There we go. All right, so there that is. And I have it set up as a window where I can drag it around and it zooms individual things. A lot of times when I work with students with a visual impairment, they have it where their whole screen is like that. And so they learn to really move it around and access things. And I frequently, if I have to look at their iPads or help them, I'll say, can you turn this off for me? Because I really struggle if I'm not a person who uses it all the time. So it makes it really difficult for me to try and navigate the screen in the same manner that they do. So you can do the full screen magnification, the picture in picture view. That's what I was showing you, the picture in picture view. The full screen magnification makes everything big, and then you have to drag the screen around to see it. It works with voiceover, and so you can better see what you're actually hearing. The audio descriptions, I don't have any movies on here at all, but if you were watching a movie like via Apple TV, that is something that where it actually gives you an audio description of every single scene of what's going on. And so when you work in assistive technology, you like to test those things out. It's really very interesting how people describe things. They might not be the same as you would describe them, but it's nice so that someone who isn't seeing has the option of accessing those movies. Sound recognition is another cool one. It listens for certain sounds and uses on devices, and this would be really powerful for people who might have a hearing impairment. And so here on my iPad, I have my sound recognitions. I have it paused now. Hang on, I'm gonna go back to, and this one's another one that's found under accessibility in your settings. So once you go to settings, accessibility, and then here down, you see sound recognition. It's the one that's in red down there. And so when I select that, it talks about my sounds. I have 3 that are enabled. I have a dog barking, so it'll do something if I have a dog barking, if the doorbell, and then if there's water running. But you have the option of siren, smoke, fire, all of these options. Your cat, a baby crying, yelling, things like that. And then, so it will give you, it'll notify you if it recognizes any of those sounds. And that's something, it has to download, it has to use some memory in order to use this one. But it's really was created for people who might have a hearing impairment so that they would know of any emergency situations if they're not hearing them. Live listen, that's another cool one. It's one you would also have to turn on. And this is it's an interesting one because I would think it would be in accessibility, but that is not where it is. This one is actually in the control center. And so those are the 2 places, accessibility and control center. And you see there's the ear here. And so it's pretty easy to confuse it here with where it says hearing devices. Right here under hearing, that's a completely different one. That's not the one that you want. That one would be for any types of hearing aid compatibility with your iPad. You would want to go to the control center for that one. And once you're in the control center, there's a hearing over there. And so once you select that, you kind of turn it on or you turn it off. And it gives you the option of just bringing your device closer so that you can hear people more clearly in what they're saying. And so that would kind of require you to have maybe some AirPods in or some headphones in, and then holding that closer to a person so that you can hear them clearly. I just want to look in the chat here. I see people are saying things I don't want to miss. I'm used to people just being able to jump in. So I want to address questions.
We do have a couple questions, Makia, in the question and answer box. Are you ready for them?
Slides emailed, absolutely. I can share them. I'll share a link. Cool. I want to make sure that I'm responsive to whatever the group needs are. So sensory alerts. This is one that lets you know if something is up. I don't know if anybody has ever seen somebody's phone and when it starts ringing, it flashes really a lot of light, or if the phone starts ringing and the person's picture pops up. Those are sensory alerts. And they're really made for people who might have a hearing impairment so that they know that something is that they're getting a call or a FaceTime, or that a message is coming through. But that's another one that you can find under accessibility. Nope, I'm sorry. That one is under accessibility. And that one's in accessibility all the way under. Let me just show here. So here I am in accessibility. And then I have to go down to where it says audio visual. And so right here, if I wanted my LED flash, I could do that. I can turn it on. I could tell it to flash when it's on silent. And so some of those sensory alerts for anyone. Okay, so now moving on to apps. I am going to go back to my iPad. I'm gonna stop sharing here because what I
Makia, can you hear
did
me?
was
Makia,
I
can
had
you
a
hear
whole
me?
poplet put together about applications. And so this is the poplet. I did not, maybe I'll join again so I can see it. It's just so difficult between the two, with all the noise that they make. Open calendar, open Google Calendar. There we go.
Makia, can you hear me?
Recording in progress.
Sorry, everybody. I just want to be able to show you some things via my iPad here. So I am going to screen share again via my iPad this time. Thank you. And I'm going to go to Poplet. There we go. So this is one of my favorite applications. It's not free. It's really inexpensive though. It's about $3.99 maybe. Everything else I'm going to talk about is free. But what I love about Poplet is it gives you, it's a really simple way of organizing information. So if you work with students at all, or if you work with people who kind of might need to do some mind mapping, it's very simple. Literally, I can touch the screen here and I can make this larger or I can make it smaller. I can tap here and decide what color I want it to be. I can add my text. I could draw on it if I wanted to. And I could also add pictures from my library, or I could taste one, or I could take one, or I could paste some images. So I love Poplet, especially for organizing things. So one of the things I wanted to talk about here was Seeing AI. So what I did was all I have to do is tap here and draw a line out, and it gives me a whole new Poplet that I can put wherever I need it to go and change it to the color that I want it to be. And then I could write on it. And just like that. And if I don't want it anymore, I can just delete it. It's really not a lot of time between seeing it for the first time and learning how to use it.
Makia, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, there are down at the bottom, there are 3 questions in the
Okay.
Q&A. Do you see
Okay.
them? Would you like me to read them to you or can you see them?
I can see them.
Okay.
Have I used assistive tech with, is this AI, Karen? AI and ADHD children due to sensory challenges. So, me specifically, no. Our team in Ann Arbor, yes. A lot of times when students have sensory challenges, our team, and I'll back up a little bit and tell you that there's myself, I'm a teacher consultant. So we have another teacher consultant. We have 2 speech and language pathologists who are 0.5 each. And then we also have an occupational therapist on the team. And the beautiful thing about having this team approach to delivering assistive technology service is that we kind of can go to the experts in the area. And so there's someone on our team who really helps support students with sensory challenges. So that is not my area of expertise. I would be grasping at straws and attempting to find out some answers, what I know a lot of AT specialists do, but that's just not something that's required for us in Ann Arbor, because we have someone who, everybody kind of is allowed to shine in the area where they shine best. Another one, I tapped on hearing on my iPad. It went from the green plus to the red minus. How do I get it back to green? I wish people could talk. I'd rather just I'd rather just talk to people so that I can clarify what their answers, what their questions are. So I'm assuming, I don't know if this was for hearing devices or if it was for the actual for the hearing one. So, but if I can really quickly show my video, I'm gonna stop sharing where I was for just a moment. And then I am going to show here on my iPhone. So I think you're talking about the hearing we talked about here. Let's see. Hang on, let me get the full view here. There we go. So I think it's this one that you're talking about here. So this is in the control center. Yep, this one's from the control center. Perfect. Okay, thanks, Pat. So this one's in the control center. So if you had it green down here, and if I remember your question correctly, let me go back and look really quickly. Tapped on and it went from green to red. So red is here. You should be able to just.
No.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
We good. We good. I was in the restroom, so I did not hear the comments. So please repeat your comment.
Makia, I changed everybody so that they're able to.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if, are you ready for questions from everybody?
I am. You know what? I like questions the whole time. I hate just talking and only hearing myself. I prefer to engage with people. So yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have three different devices.
Mm-hmm.
I have the HP laptop. I have a Microsoft tablet, and I have an Android phone. Yes, my Apple desktop. But I found out that if you practice on it more on any devices, we can figure out how to use the app or the accessibility devices. And for me, I have cerebral palsy, plus I am hearing impaired, plus I have a speech impairment too. So I will play around with it, but I do not use no voice recognition.
Okay.
None of that. But what I would use is text to speech that we have text to speech. I'm done. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing. Text to speech is fantastic. And I'm curious, I know you said you don't use the dictation at all, but do you use any of the predictive text?
Yes,
Yes.
I
Okay.
do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Awesome. Does anybody else want to jump in with some questions or comments? Or should I go back to the questions that we were looking at?
Makia, can you hear me?
Hi, Karen.
How are you?
Well, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, Makia, I do have a few questions. I'm sorry, I won't take too long. But one, when you talked about the switches, what type of software were you interfacing with those switches? Or were they app?
So the one that I was specifically talking about, the young man uses is called an air turn. Is that the one you're talking about, where he uses the
With the foot, the paddle one.
Yep, the flip. Yep, it's called an air turn, and
Okay.
so it doesn't require any additional software.
Right. Okay. And that's the one that's Bluetooth, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now who makes that one?
It's called air turn. I just pulled it up really quick. Yep.
Okay, well, and let me ask you another question then. With the iPad and iPhone, you remember the Go Talk software, the different communication software?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any switches, Bluetooth switches that you can use to interface with those particular communication software that you know of offhand?
That is a good question, and my answer would be similar to your other one. So you're looking, whereas that's something our speech and language pathologists spend a lot of time with because that's their area of expertise. I could definitely get that answer with you, but most of our
Okay, no problem. You know, we can talk later about it.
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of time in that. Okay, then my other last question, if no one else has a question, but this is my last question. Okay, you know, when you talked about the assistive touch one, and I was talking about the autistic kids and kids with ADHD, and the reason why I brought that up is because sometimes their attention span is so short. Have people ever thought about using some of that with those children who don't really have that attention span to actually go through some of the more lengthier types of technology in terms of learning it or even focusing enough, you know, to access their curriculum and things of that nature? That's all.
So one of the things I was going to say that's used quite frequently with students who might have that issue with an attention span is that guided access, where you just kind of lock them into a program. Now, you know, but students are resilient and they are smart. So they find ways around it. Like we had one student who learned that if he just let the iPad die, then it turns off.
Right.
It turns off the guided access. There was another student we had, and he had this is when students were able, when every iPad had an individual Apple ID, and he had signed out of the school Apple ID and signed in his personal one. So the teacher kept putting him in guided access, and he would override it because he was in control of the iPad. Just smart. And I told him because I was going to sign him out and change the permissions on his iPad. I said, I need the code. I need your password. And he gave me a password, but it didn't work. And I said, it didn't work. And he's like, well, I don't know. I said, okay, if you ever want to see this iPad again, you're going to tell me the password. And he had given me the correct password, but one of the letters needed to be capital and he didn't capitalize. So they're so, they are, you get I love working with students because they just keep you on your toes all the time. And and they just surprise you with the things that they can do, that they learn how to do. Like they're genius at things. Even my own 9-year-old, I tell me all the time, show me how to do that again. Like, what did you do? How did you get there? Especially these younger, these students in school now, they're digital natives, right? Like we are digital immigrants as well as I like to say digital language learners, right? Like we've learned under a completely different platform or how to learn, and now it's like learning a whole new language for a lot of us. Whereas this is, they come out the womb swiping, a lot of them.
Mhm.
So
Okay, well, I just want to say thank you, and it was really, really great information. And the one thing I'm glad that you did point out is how someone was able to use their feet to access a piece of technology, because a lot of time people don't think outside the box in terms of using your feet. All right, thank you.
thank you, Karen. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yes, this is Maggie Scott again.
Okay.
I wish that the video was because I wanted to show everybody the Bluetooth that I use for all of my device. It's called Aftershock.
Aftershock?
Yes.
Okay.
Bluetooth that is compatible to all hearing aids. And it will let you hear without people getting up close to you, but it will also let you hear the surrounding sound.
So, Marguerite, are you talking about the bone conduction headphones?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to make sure those were the ones. So I pulled up the website because I know you said you were sorry that you couldn't share because you wanted to be able to show everybody what.
Yes.
But what I'm going to show, actually, once I screen share here, let me get back to my screen share. I can show everybody on your behalf. How's that?
Okay. Thank you.
And okay, so these are active. Are these?
Yes.
Yep, the aftershocks, and they're the bone
Yes.
conduction. So they hook over the ears, and then the sound kind of goes in. Right. I'm gonna go back to this picture here. Actually, Marguerite, you'd like to know that we have some of these that we're using in our district, and what the pandemic made us do was have to get really, really creative. And so we have our adaptive PE teachers. We got them all 12.9-inch iPad Pros, and we got them all hotspots. And then they also have these, and they also have these aftershocks. So this is a way that the students in front of them, as well as the students via Zoom, and still be able to communicate, not be directly in front of the device, but still be able to communicate with students. So yes, I am very familiar with those. They're really cool.
Yes, it is. It is because I can use it whenever I'm traveling and I want to read the audiobook will be connected to the device that I use.
Mm-hmm. And you know, they're really lightweight too, like extreme.
Yes.
Mhm. Um, and what I like about them, because I use a couple different things, because I love the technology. I have AirPod Pros, but I love for those for talking on the phone, but I don't like to exercise in them because I want to hear what's going on around me. So I use something different for that. And I don't have,
But
go ahead.
this device will us do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can exercise with it to still hear people around you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna interrupt here for a minute because it's 11:10. So I wanted to kind of throw this over to Tracy Strating from our office, who's going to introduce next month's AT Talk and speakers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marguerite. I enjoyed speaking with you.
I want to start by just saying to Makia, I cannot believe how much I learned today. I don't know that I've ever been in a session where I've been frantically like telling myself, I'm going to go back and look at this. I'm going to go back and look at that. So that was amazing. And I don't know if it's because I'm not a young spring chicken anymore, but I feel like I have a lot of research to do to be able to take advantage of all that you shared with us today. It was incredible. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, do you have any last words? You do, that was rather abrupt. I'll let you have your last words there, Makia, if you'd
No,
like.
no worries, Tracy. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. I really apologize again for the technical difficulties that we had. Sometimes the technology doesn't cooperate. I'm over here sweating because I'm like going back and forth between the devices, and I really wanted to be able to just, show on one and stay inside of the presentation on my computer. But what I'm going to do is clean up the slides a little bit, and I can embed some links inside of those, and then I'll give you a link to share out with. Do we have email addresses or anything for everybody who's here? Or
Well, anybody who's interested, if they look in the chat, they can see Diane's email. They can
okay,
send
okay,
requests to
and I'll send it to
Diane,
Diane. Okay.
and we'll make sure they get a copy of the presentation that you work on. So thank
Okay.
you again. It was really amazing. I've loved getting to know you, and I think we may have to do another round of this topic and have another chance to show more. Obviously, there's way more that you have to share. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to tell you a little bit. I'm Tracy Strating, the Technology Program Manager, the Assistive Technology Program Manager at Michigan United Cerebral Palsy. And I want to invite you to join us next month as we learn from Laura Hall, who's the AT Program Manager at Michigan Disability Rights Coalition, along with me, about finding, trying, and funding your assistive technology. Laura coordinates the Michigan Assistive Technology Program for the state of Michigan's effort, advocates and provides training to the public. She's passionate about assistive technology as a path toward independence and employment for people with disabilities. I have a background in disability advocacy and banking, regulations, lending regulations, procedures.
No.
So we are looking forward to talking to you about examples of assistive technology, how to try the technology that you want, how to build a plan to pay for your assistive technology. So Laura and I are looking forward to sharing with you our knowledge on that topic next month on Thursday, July the 8th at 10 a.m. So thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you on July the 8th.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Makia. It was so
Thank
good.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.